My name is Swami Vijay, and I currently reside in Noida. Today's subject is how to deal with unexpected life changes. I was thinking about this title, and I was thinking, well, life changes all the time. How can changes be unexpected? But then I thought we should change the title. We should change it to how to deal with unexpected changes. And then that made a little more sense to me. I remember many years ago, I took a trip with Swami Ananda. I had taken numerous trips with him, but never on an airline flight, and never out of the country. And we were on the first leg of a trip around the world. We were on our way to London. I had never been to London. And there was 7 of us in the group with Swamiji. And we got on the flight, and we had to stop in Seattle. We got off the plane, but then we got back on the same plane and flew to London. And when we got to London, we went through customs. And for some reason, I was in the back of our group, and I got slowed down in customs, and they all just left without me. I was like shocked. I was like, Swami, and he just sort of, see you at the hotel, and they all jumped into this vehicle, and I'm gone. I'm by myself in London, and I really don't know where the hotel. I don't even know the name of the hotel. So I was really quite concerned. And I could easily have just broken down and cried right there. But I jumped into a cab as quickly as I could. I said, follow that cab! And fortunately, I caught up to them, and everything was fine. There's those of you who know me know that when I was a young man, I used to surf, riding waves. And I used to go surfing in Hawaii, where the waves were quite big. And the thing about surfing in big waves is that it's really scary. And you're out there, you're floating up and down, and the waves come, but the thing is you never know when the waves are going to come exactly. So you're always kind of scanning, you're looking to see when is the next wave going to come. But sometimes you get distracted. I mean, it's beautiful out there, and you're looking at nature and the birds and other surfers and the land to see if you're in the right place. And sometimes the waves come when you don't expect them, and as soon as you see it coming, you panic, and you turn and try to paddle as quickly as you can so that it won't crash on you. And life is like this. Life is filled with ups and downs. Waves are ups and downs. Things that are unexpected. But the thing is, when you ride a really big wave, it's like totally exciting. Can you turn this down just a little bit? It's just a little bit so that it doesn't, that's perfect. So sometimes we think that unexpected changes are bad. You know, oh, this is a calamity, I'm in a car accident, I'm ill, all kinds of bad things. But the truth is that sometimes unexpected changes are good. So we have unexpected guests, friends come to visit that we love, and business opportunities that might come to us that we didn't expect. Maybe get a bonus at the end of the year. These are good things. So changes can be good or bad. But then let's think about that. Are changes ever really good or bad? Remember Yoganandaji's teaching. All life experiences are neutral. That means that the experiences that we have in life are neither good nor bad, except in how we respond to them. If you get a promotion at business, at the job, unexpectedly, you might go, oh, this is good. But then, oh, I'm now the boss of you guys. Oh, do what I say. Oh, I'm getting myself into trouble by being egotistical. So something good has turned into something bad because we didn't respond with the right consciousness. And this is a key thing to understand. Life is determined, the quality of life is determined much more by how we respond than the actual events themselves. And the greatest stories of adventure and triumph in life come from people facing terrible, well, just I would say not terrible, but extreme challenges with the right attitude. And in fact, we often recognize that it's in the facing of an extreme, unexpected, or expected change that we find our greatest opportunities for growth and real meaningful success in life. Swamiji used to tell a story quite often, used the illustration of the skier. The skier is coming down the hill, and the hill normally has lots of bumps on it. It has a slope, and then it has lots of unexpected changes. It changes. It has little things that you have to navigate around. And if you try to ski with stiff legs, then you can't absorb those changes. But if you bend your knees, then you can absorb the changes. But even just bending the knees isn't sufficient. You have to center yourself over your feet, and your body has to be aligned properly. Then you can be in balance and respond to many different changes. If you've ever watched ballroom dancing. So ballroom dancing is, well, the music's pretty worldly most of the time. But if you've ever done it, so the man is supposed to lead. This is not, I don't know how this started. You know, the men are supposed to be in charge of probably, you know, a long history of thinking that that's the way life should be. That's a different subject. Okay. But the thing is that, so the woman is supposed to follow the man. And the thing is that the woman doesn't really know what the man's going to do. But if you've ever watched a good dancer, a woman dancer, she can adjust like they've been dancing for, you know, years together. Because they are in balance, and then they're fluid. They're able to adjust their body and their rhythm to the man. And if you've ever taken any, men have ever taken any ballroom dancing lessons, if it's a woman instructor, she'll lead you from her side, and she'll know how to give you subtle signals. And well, men should. If you're good at leading the woman, then you give subtle signals. And life is very much like that, in that there are many subtle signals that we can receive about what's going to happen in life if we pay attention. And many will generalize here and say that many women have what we might describe as innate intuitive faculties. You know, they sense. Maybe they sense that a child's not well and they call them. They sense something is wrong. Men can certainly develop this, and some men, you know, are naturally more intuitive. But it requires a certain internal awareness and openness. And if you practice intuitive awareness, if you're honest, you'll learn when, you know, you'll sort of keep score. Did I get it right? Did I not get it right? So that you learn what are the chances of me having this feeling? Because sometimes you leave, we talk about this in America. I've left home now. Did I leave the iron hot? Or is the oven on? You know, and people have driven, you know, long distances only to find out that of course they had turned it off. And I'm sure in some cases they were glad they went back. But if you could know. And life, we think of life proceeding in front of us in a timeline, but actually life is always in the present. And if we can be in balance in the present, meaning that our inner being is not talking so much, so restless, that we can't receive information. I have experienced so many times a thought, and then life presented something connected to that thought. And I've seen this happen so many times that I observe sometimes when I had that thought, but I didn't pay attention to it, and now I've missed this opportunity or not recognized, that something was going to take place. And I observed that I had observed in the right timing when it happened. This process of inward awareness, swadhyaya, self-study. Sometimes swadhyaya is described as study of the scriptures, but that's really a much secondary connection. The important connection is that we learn to be aware of what's going on inside of us on many layers, how we're acting and how we're receiving life into ourselves. And so if we begin to observe our inner weather, our inner awareness, we'll begin to know when we're agitated or when we're calm. And through meditation, we deepen in our ability in calmness, to experience calmness. And in calmness, we can perceive more of intuitive understanding. So if the mind is restless, then it's like a force field that keeps this deeper awareness from coming in. So, which keeps us from being able to get advanced information about what's going on in life, but then also to not respond as much in balance. So if we think about unexpected changes, we'll say pleasant. See, I don't like good and bad. I like beneficial, not beneficial, pleasant, unpleasant. See, you can have a pleasant experience or an unpleasant experience, but if you're in your center, you're not overly affected by them. But if you're in your emotions and you're super reactive, then pleasant is like excitement, and unpleasant is depression. Where in your center, as Krishna teaches in the Gita, we want to be even-minded and cheerful. This is really a very practical goal. Yes, we all want samadhi. We want to be freed from the circle of life, death, and rebirth. But in the short term, we just want to be reasonably happy. And to be reasonably happy, you have to become even-minded and cheerful. And that cheerfulness is not just positive affirmation, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be happy. It's something that comes up from within us. We all know happiness is inside. This happiness can be activated in our consciousness. It's already there, but we have to activate our connection to it. This is our intuitive heart connection, soul connection, spirit connection, energy in the spine connection. Yoganandaji described the spine as the highway to the infinite. We have to be in our center. And in that center, and observing how we react to life, we can then begin to develop skills of balance. So when someone's yelling at me, I just got fired, everybody in the world loves me, it's the same. Who is talking to me in pleasant experiences? God is. Who is talking to me in unpleasant experiences? God is. It's all God. So if my karma leads me to something that I would consider to be pleasant, because remember, pleasant isn't the same for everybody. People who love ice cream think that everybody would love ice cream, but not everybody does. Some people think it's too cold or too sweet. Or they can't eat it because they have diabetes, so they don't like it. It reminds them of the things they can't do. So it isn't the ice cream, it's your relationship and how you react to it. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't enjoy the things that we prefer, but we shouldn't be attached to life being the way that we want it to be. I don't want to get fired. So I'm going to come, in America, you come back and shoot somebody. That's a bit of an overreaction. And that doesn't lead to a positive solution. I mean, what good comes from that? Revenge. That doesn't ever taste good. So this overreaction means that we are not in our center. We're not in balance. When you're in balance, it was interesting. I'll go back to surfing. There was a time when I was living in Hawaii, and I was surfing the best waves I'd ever been in. They were fabulous. And surfing, when you go surfing, the waves aren't always there. Sometimes it's we say flat, nothing. Sometimes they're big. But this was a period of time where for 6 weeks, the waves were at least that high every day. And some days they were 3 and 4 times as high, which was really big. And so this was like surfer's paradise. And I observed my attitude during this period when first I was excited to be there, but it was the waves were quite far out, so you had to paddle quite a ways. And if you lost your surfboard, now they use these leashes, but in those days we didn't have it. So your board would be swept in, and it would take you 30 minutes to get to your surfboard, and swimming and paddling, and it was a lot of work. Not so much surfing, a lot of all of the things, wiping out and swimming in and getting your surfboard. And I found that even though I was in paradise, I was getting grumpy. I was like out again, and all this paddling, and So, but I was fortunately observant at the time, and I went through this process of, I'm not really enjoying this now. What's the problem? And I realized that it was my attitude. And so I shifted from, I don't like this, but I like this, to, I like everything. There's something good to be found in every life experience, and I just need to tune into that. So, wiping out became, surviving wiping out is big. When the waves are big, it's like you are amongst a few people in the world who can handle being wiping out on a big wave. It by itself is a huge accomplishment. And then if you can swim in afterwards, that shows that you've developed strong swimming skills. And if you can then paddle out, that means you're really in good shape, and you're really, and I began to just enjoy, and then once I did that, I began to enjoy being in nature again, and just the whole atmosphere, all of life changed. But did life change? No, I changed. And this is the key. The key is to understand that life is never going to be good until you choose goodness. Life is always going to be against you until you make it your friend. And if you can face, as Gandhi did when he was shot, he pranamed, he received. He didn't fight. He rose above that common fear, that common attachment. This we need to do if we want to be happy. If we want to experience God's presence on ever deeper levels during every daily activity, then we need to find that balance inside ourselves. Practice deep meditation. Practice Kriya meditation. Go into that silence, and then practice that inner connection. This is why when we meditate, We sit in the silence afterwards. We practice that open spirit connected. This is when of course you should hug God while you're meditating, but you should also hug God even deeper when you're sitting in the silence. And when we do that, we will perceive ever deeper levels of conscious presence of God. You see, God is always present. God can't leave the room. If God leaves the room, there is no room. But our ability to perceive that presence becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. So if we live in that presence within our center, then as life's ups and downs, twists and turns present themselves to us, we will find that we become even-minded and cheerful. Maybe not all the time, but on deeper and deeper levels as life proceeds. You'll find that you're much less affected. There's a story about Master when he used to demonstrate some of his powers when he spoke in public. And one time he had 4 policemen push him up against the wall. And, well, no, actually, he was standing on the stage and they tried to move him. This is a different story. And they tried to move him, and he rooted his consciousness to the floor, and they just simply could not budge him. Now, this takes a very strong interconnection and strength of energy flow, the ability to direct it at will in a way. They say that one of the powers, one of the siddhis that comes to the yogi is this ability to become immovable. And it's a conscious act of will. We must practice the conscious act of will to be centered, to be open to God's gifts, be they pleasant or unpleasant. Every life experience is a gift. It's an opportunity to share God's creation with God and to proceed through the lessons and the opportunities that God has given us for our path through the creation on our way to coming home to the perception of infinite spirit. So as we look at changes, as we look at things that happen unexpectedly, you can see it as a surprise gift. The guest comes in, well, here's a gift. And this gift is our relationship with God becoming deeper and deeper and deeper. And that is the way to deal with all changes, including unexpected changes.